Okay. It. Okay, and we are live. Tweet out
Yo,
the show, and yeah,
are we live?
yeah. It takes a
I
while
don't need
on
my
YouTube.
camera on.
No, this is a show where you don't need your camera. Actually,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
because the whole point is for me to show off the backgrounds that I create on YouTube itself. So if you actually go to the live stream for this channel, which I'll send you the link on Discord right now, but yeah. So basically, the whole point is I create these like cool little backgrounds with people with the people I have on with trying to create their characters or trying to create references of their characters. So
That's wild. That's pretty cool.
yeah, so I like to go different with this because I like to let my creative side just do something different, because it's different than just having like a static image in the background. So
Well,
yeah,
I can say
but
that this is the most light-skinned I've ever been on a podcast.
yeah, so as you know from me telling you the other day is that I couldn't actually make like your character, so I had to use Vegeta because that's on your T-shirt, is on your actual logo for your Twitter handle.
Vegeta's the main.
So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna go wacky with it. Let me just try to put Vegeta. I think that'll do.
There you go.
But I hope you don't
No,
mind. I don't hope you don't mind the little Dragon Ball reference to there.
absolutely not. That's a childhood favorite right there.
Yeah, same here. I actually am binging the series. Not gonna lie, Dragon Ball Z Kai is like one of my favorite all-time anime series.
I actually like the original Dragon Ball Z. Kai is fine, but it skips a lot of filler. But I like filler. I'm cool with filler. I want to know the whole story.
You see,
I
my
want to
my
hear
problem
all
with
of
the
it.
original is there was a lot more filler than in Kai, but I do love the original more because it had more grounded fighting elements in it compared to Kai, where it had all the superpowers and stuff.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
But enough about anime. This is a gaming podcast. So how about we actually talk about the games and I mean let's discuss what games you've been playing recently.
Man, I got a very short list for you.
A short list, you say?
A very short list of video games I've been playing. And I'm telling you right now, Starfield is taking up a ton of that space.
You see, I knew that would have to be the case because like currently is Starfield Mania, so no big surprise
It
there.
it is, man. Like my boy Vinny that I game share with on PlayStation was like, yo man, I'm thinking about getting that Baldur's Gate. And I was like, go on ahead and get it if you want. And he's like, would you play it? I said, probably not until 2024. I'm just being honest because, like, I think Baldur's Gate, it looks phenomenal and it's getting all these great reviews, but I'm not a turn based guy. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I put 120 plus hours into Persona. And that's me saying I'm not a turn based guy. Right.
Yeah.
But Persona was special in the sense that I had nothing else to play and I fell into Persona.
Huh.
Baldur's Gate's gonna have to wait until that situation happens again.
So it's
To
just
where
it's
it's
just
like,
on the back burner then. Huh?
well, it is. Although I mean, it's really intriguing, right? But like, what I don't want to do is think that I like something and then find out that I don't. So I'd rather play the games that I know that I like right now. So that's Starfield. Other games other than Starfield that I've been playing, like with the wife, I was playing some Vampire Survivors just last night. With the kiddo that I have a 5-year-old little girl. She loves video games. She's always running around on the Switch. Um, but last night we played Unraveled. Like,
Oh,
I
that's a
mean,
great game.
dude, Unraveled is so good, and I was surprised that she was catching on so well. I mean, she's 5, so I mean, she can
Taking
understand English and reach buttons and stuff like that. But
Taking
Um,
after her dad, I see. Just getting straight
yeah,
into
yeah. I
gaming.
mean, but I tell you, man, it feels good when you see your kid doing something that you personally enjoy and they're having a good time with it. So I'm hopefully keep that keep that train moving. You know,
Yeah.
but
So,
that's pretty much it for what I've been playing as of lately.
well, I mean, of course, with Starfield's out, that's all people are going to be playing. If like, that's if they're into Starfield, of course. But like, yeah. Other
Fair.
than that, there's not a lot of whole new games out yet. Besides of course Boulder Gate and what was it? Armored Core, of course. But of course, Starfield's going to get that because that was the most hype in years, the most
Yeah,
hype game in years.
I mean, I'm not trying to say like you're wrong or anything like that, but in a way, I see what you mean because it's just like there's like Starfield and Baldur's Gate, and it doesn't seem like a whole lot other for the fact that those two games are taking a lot of the oxygen out of the room.
Yeah,
So people are forgetting about Immortals of Phoenix Rise or Immortals Phoenix Rising. What's the other game called? Dang, the Souls shooter kind of Remnant 2. Um, the what was that? Atlas Fallen's recently come out. I mean, there's other games that are actually pretty good that's came out, but man, the oxygen, I mean, bro, Baldur's Gate and Starfield are just taking all the oxygen out of the room. And then if you're not even into those two, then Armored Core, like fuck. I mean, there's yeah, I mean, it's just a tough year, and it's just a tough year for other smaller games. So, like, I was telling K Meg on his channel yesterday, the GRG podcast. You've been there
yeah,
a few times. So when I was on there, I was telling him, I was like, dude, like this has been an incredible year for games, but it's been really hard for new IPs and other things to really like get moving. And what I mean by that is like it's pretty much got to be a vacant time for like a new IP to really flourish really well. So like a great example is Hi-Fi Rush. There wasn't a whole lot around that moment, and we were waiting for Redfall, we were waiting for Starfield, we were wondering what's going to happen with Forza. So like when Hi-Fi Rush came out, it was just like a bang surprise, got high reviews and everything like that. But as the year started to continue, you had like Hogwarts that came out that caught everybody by surprise. But what did you have around the Hogwarts time and like the Redfall time? Those are two new IPs. You got Zelda taking the air out of the room. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then go a little bit further down the road. Now we're here with like Starfield and Baldur's Gate and Armored Core. All the air is gone again. And then here in like another month, it's gonna be like Forza, Forza and Spider-Man. All the air out of the room again. Like it's just gonna be hard for these newer IPs to kind of come out and make a name for themselves. And then you also have these older IPs that are remade like Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 and Metal Gear Solid's right around the corner. And it's just like any last little bits of air are being taken up by them. So it's just like, oh man, it's a wild year in gaming, and I feel
It's
bad
probably one
for
of the best years in gaming. Not gonna lie. I mean,
I'd put it in the top 5. It's a top 5, maybe even yeah. I'd say top 5 year in gaming for sure. Just because of all the games and stuff that are coming out, it's just wild. It's absolutely wild,
I completely
but
agree.
really cool to see. But I mean, some kind of proof for the pudding in this is look at Ascendant Studios right now. They just launched. Immortals of Phoenix Rising, and then they just cut 45% of their staff because it didn't make the numbers that they wanted it to make.
Yeah, that was a big old rip on that end. Yeah,
Game hasn't even been out for a month.
Well, that's how it is. That's how it is in this gaming industry. I mean, if you're not big, yeah, there's gonna be cutbacks depending on which studios make which games and how much effort it takes. But I mean, I've heard the game was great. I haven't touched it yet, to be honest. But hearing how good it is, I do plan on getting it in the future, though.
But see, that's the problem. That's the problem.
There's just a lot of games. Yeah,
the air got taken out of the room so much, and they themselves made a mistake. They were supposed to launch in July, so they would have been closer to like Remnant, which isn't easy either because Remnant did great. They would have been closer to like Atlas Fallen as well, which would have been better for them. Still not, it's not great for either Atlas Fallen or Immortals, but it would have been better than them saying, "Hey, we need to delay it for another month," and then you're 1 week short of Starfield coming out, which I was planning on buying I almost said Immortals Phoenix Rise. Immortals of Avium. I was planning on buying that day one, and then when they moved the time, I was like, that's too close to Starfield. I wonder how many other people said that. Right? Even you are saying, yo, this game looks pretty dope, but not right now. In Immortals of Avium, Ascendant Studios needed that money right now. And that's the disconnect that we're having. And that's why so many of us were
that's what happens when there's tons of great games coming out. It's like, okay, there's gotta be some sacrifice.
If you are a brand new developer or you're coming out with a new IP, you gotta be very wary of the time that you decide to drop your game. You gotta be like it just like if you really care about your staff and all of them, spend that extra whatever it costs and push that shit. Or excuse me, I'm not sure if I can curse or not. But push that to another time that's more vacant. I'm sorry, but like you can't be sending you can't be saying this is the love of my life as a creator making a game and then throw it into the wolves. You know what I mean? Like you spent all that time working on that game just to roll it out in a time that you know it's an issue. The excuse of this game isn't like other games doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree there. I mean, I think what should happen is these publishers should like push back dates, or the studios should push back dates and release during like an open window where they know they'll be able to succeed. You know, I mean, or else they're just gonna get squashed. They're just gonna get squashed by the bigger games that are gonna be coming out. That's just the gist of it. I mean, look what happened with Saints Row. I mean, sure that game wasn't good, but like there were people that enjoyed it. It had some decent sales for a game of that size, but like they still didn't manage to sell that well.
I felt like Volition fell apart because they never really had any real direction since like the early 2000s. They were just kind of winging it. And I felt like they were winging it and hoping for the best and hoping to kind of be hip with today's kind of type of people or whatnot, and not really focusing on making a good game. And I think that stifled it a little bit because I remember when I seen Saints Row, I was like, this game looks fun. And then they started talking, and I was like, all right, not really feeling this anymore. Yeah, like they just tried too hard. And I feel like a lot of developers sometimes do that too, trying to pander to certain type of people instead of just making something fun, making something good. You can still keep the morality in check. You can still respect everything, but just trying to like get people like to buy into something that another game might have like figured out how to do properly. Like in my opinion, I felt like when I was looking at Saints Row, I was like, man, just the way they talk and move and jive just reminded me of like Fortnite and something just out of my age range. Just like something that's like really trying to pander hard to like Gen Z and hey, I'm fine with Gen Z doing whatever the hell they want, and I'm fine with, people saying and doing whatever they want, but don't be surprised if it flops because you decided to do something that panders way too much to this area than to everybody as a whole. Especially if you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole, why the hell would you just corner yourself into like this kind of this kind of way of making a game when that's not how you got big in the first place? So like that's what threw me off with the whole Volition and this new Saints Row. I think they were damned ever since they decided to switch up the whole Saints Row way of doing things.
All right, and I get to your thoughts about that. All right, I think we should keep moving on with the questions, just to
Let's go.
roll with them. So always like to ask my guests this question. So, what's your first game that got you into gaming? Like the first game that you can remember that you played.
Road Rash.
Road Rash. Okay, tell me about that game because I've never heard of it.
Wow. So I grew up. A lot of like friends and family had like the NES or this SNES, the SNES or whatever you want to call it. Um, I was asking my parents, I want to get into gaming and stuff like that. I ended up getting a Sega, and I was just like, "Yo, this isn't the same as everybody else." But it ended up being fine because, like Mortal Kombat was dope. John Madden football was dope. I really like those games. The controller ended up being much more comfortable to me than any of the Nintendo controllers at that time. And I had, I ended up actually getting a turbo controller for the Genesis as well. So that was pretty cool having. But once I got Road Rash, it was something else. Like, I mean, I had a good amount of games that I played throughout that time. So like Toe Jam and Earl was really good. Taz on Mars was really good. Uh greatest greatest heavyweight boxing, Aladdin, X-Men, um NBA Jam, Bill Walsh. I mean, I can just keep going. But the one that made me literally go grab a pen and paper and continuously come back to it was Road Rash 2. That game was an absolute demon for me. And what I loved about it was see, that game is a motorcycle game, right? It's like a motorcycle racing game that allows you to knock other people off of motorcycles.
Okay.
Okay. So you'd start out in last place like most racing games, right? And the race is like 4 or 5 minutes long, and or at least the first races are like 4 or 5 minutes long, and then they get longer because they have like version 2 of the same map that's longer and stuff like that. But like you're obviously trying to get the first place, but everyone's trying to like whoop your ass on the way or whatnot. So you're like fighting. You start out just punching people, and then you go versus somebody that has like a chain that's trying to hit you off the bike with a chain, and you can steal the chain from them and then whoop their ass with it. Cops will pull up. If you get knocked off your bike and a cop rolls up on you, you get busted, taken to jail, you lose money. But you can also knock the cop off of their bike and or steal their nightstick as well, and then use that on other people throughout the race. But they can steal weapons from you as well too. So if you both punch, and the way the combination works is if you punch at the same time as somebody else punches, you steal their weapon. So you kind of have to time it. Like I almost like whenever I had the chain, I'd wait for them to punch first, and then I would strike them with the chain and just kind of keep going at that and knock them off of the bike, and the chain will knock them off really fast. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much the gist of the game is you're racing motorcycles, trying to get from the start to the end, trying to get first place, trying to gain more money so you can buy better motorcycles so you can continue on harder and harder and harder level.
I mean, not gonna lie, you kind of sold me on the game. I kind of want to look this up now and try to see if I can emulate this game.
Yeah, you definitely probably can. And like I said, it's a Sega Genesis game, so keep your keep some things in check with that. But they also have newer versions of that. So like they had another Road Rash that ended up coming out later on 3DO, which is crazy old console back in the mid 90s that came out. And they have the 3DO version of Road Rash, which actually includes Soundgarden on there, if you know who they are.
Never heard of them.
Really dope band back in the day. But yeah, Soundgarden was on there. And then if you go a little bit further into the future, there's Road Rash 3D that's on the original PlayStation, and that game is like a really like 3D improved version of it. Everything just looks better, and like the cities actually look like cities, and the road looks better, the cars look, just everything looks better, even the upgrades.
I'm actually looking it up as we speak, and yeah, I could definitely see the improvements in graphics over time.
It's massive, right? I'm not sure if they've had any. Oh wait, I think there was another Road Rash called Road Rash Jailbreak or something like that came out. I don't remember, but I believe that game was pretty dope too. I need to find out. Now you got.
It looks like you're wrong. It looks like you're right. Yeah. It came out in the 2000, like February 2000.
Yeah, for the original PlayStation as well. So yeah, Jailbreak is by far my favorite one, I believe. But if I'm going based off of what you just asked me, like what got me hard into gaming, it was Road Rash 2.
Okay.
Jailbreak was fire though.
Now you see, it's fun learning about like these interesting like little games, because like for me, I kind of started. For me, I think I'd say I had the pleasure of starting out with some like with like some goats that are well known today, like your Ratchet and Clank or your GTA, stuff like that. But like hearing this, like something from the NES always intrigues me, because like I haven't grown up in that era of gaming. I grew up mostly during the PS3 era of gaming, so I'm not really that well versed into a lot of the games that released for those older consoles.
Right. Okay.
So if that was the first game that got you into gaming, what's your favorite game of all time?
Man. Man, that's a tough one, because I mean I could tell you by era, but like if I were to just say
it has to be one. You can't cheat.
Gotta be one. Okay. So if it has to be one, it's gonna sound crazy, but Ark Survival Evolved.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, not gonna lie, you actually blew my mind with that one. Okay, so why Ark Survival of all games?
Oh man. I know a lot of people are just like, what the hell? Or like, when they come back and listen to this, they're gonna be like, really? Because I'm sure no one like very few people have ever said that. But for me, it goes back to what Vin Diesel said. It's all about family, right?
All right.
And Ark is like an online multiplayer game where you can team up with other survival people trying to survive, and you can make bases, do like boss raids and all this crazy stuff. um I got in this crazy situation where the game was only $13 for me, and it was before the game actually launched. It was in game preview, and my buddy from my hometown was like, "Yo, you should check this game out. Me and my roommate are playing it all the time, and you should join up with us." So I ended up joining up with them, but then I kind of fell out of the game a little bit. But I was noticing, like when I get up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom, that the front room TV would be on and my wife wasn't in bed. Go out to the front room and I'm seeing her playing Ark.
Just
And
sneakily
I'm just
gaming
like,
at night.
yeah, I'm like, yo, you're playing Ark. Like, and she ended up teaching me a few other things that I didn't already know about the game. And just the fact that she was getting into it and I had two other friends that were getting into it got me further into it, where and it's one of those games where once you kind of start, it's hard to stop, especially since a lot of stuff are running off of timers. So then I got into it even further, got crazy into it to the point where I'm like, you know, me and my wife are staying up all night with friends playing it. I ended up meeting up a couple other friends from my hometown that were into that game as well. Um, and I'm talking like sometimes we'd be playing it for like 10 hours, like all together and stuff like that, running around that world and making stuff. I ended up getting my father-in-law into the game as well. So it was like a whole group of us.
Yeah, we're
Like a
just getting the
group
whole
of like
family into this game at this point.
exactly. It was like a group of 8 of us in a tribe, and we would be like not like in technical shifts, but we would be kind of like, hey, I'm on right now. I'm gonna take care of this, this, and this, and we would be like DMing each other on Facebook Messenger, telling each other like giving an update of what we're doing and what needs to be done, and then passing the buck and just continue and continue and continue. And that happened for a solid like year and a half. So if anybody's wondering why that game is so special to me, there it is.
I mean, not gonna lie, I love the game. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually a big fan of dinosaurs, and seeing that game come out, I was actually pretty excited for it when I actually pre-ordered it before it launched on the PlayStation. So I'm a
Did,
fan of the game myself. I know the
nice.
love, and I love that game. That game got me into survival games big time.
And the thing about it is, you're right. It got me into survival games too. But every time I play a survival game, I'm like, it's just not art.
That's kind of how I feel. Like, I feel like Ark had a really good balance of, like, having like the animals tamed and like having them be helpful in like traveling, and also not just like surviving off of like food, but also like constructing and building bases, but also like having some interesting lore in the world.
The tools, I mean, you're absolutely right. The tools that you have in the game evolve. It goes from you working with your hands to making other things do the work for you.
And I don't know if you follow like a lot of the updates to happen to Ark, but they also introduced some great story into it too, as of
Oh
recently.
yeah, yep. But I haven't really, I haven't been back to play it in, I want to say like 4 or 5 months, which to me isn't even that long.
Oh no, yeah, definitely not.
Considering that it's been out since like the game preview was out in like 2000, like early 2016. The preview for the game was,
Oh my god,
and I think the game
can't believe
actually
it has been that
launched.
long.
Yeah, so like and I had a full ass base and everything here like 4 months ago with four other squad mates. No, five other squad mates. But we just, new games came out and we just kind of forgot about it, or at least I did. And then when I stopped showing up, everybody else stopped showing up. And that's exactly how it's happened the last couple times I stopped playing Ark. Is I felt like a ringleader because once I stopped showing up, shit stopped getting done. But when I was there, other people would be coming through, helping out, making shit and like whatnot. So I'm hoping that this new Ark comes out. Ark Survival Ascended sometime this year, as they said. They said it was supposed to come out in August. Then they said it was going to come out a little bit later.
That's the one with Vin
Now
Diesel, right?
No. That's Ark 2.
Oh, so what's this Ascended?
They are, yeah, Ark Survival Ascended. So they're taking down all of the servers for like for Ark Survival Evolved and moving it to Ascended, which is going to be running on Unreal Engine 5.
Huh.
And yeah, they're gonna put all that. They're gonna put all the servers there, but there's gonna be a lot of new ways to play Ark now. But it's gonna be the same maps, just in Unreal Engine 5. So a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. I don't know how well it's gonna run because
knowing the studio's reputation, yeah.
Oh goodness, yeah, for the love of God. And like I said, I was there during game preview. Talk about your game crashing. That was a issue on those old ass Xbox Ones, like especially the VCR Xbox One. That thing crashed all the time.
Oh, I believe you, especially how that game came out on PlayStation 4, where my game would crash too.
Oh yeah, you just be riding a bird.
Oh no,
game would crash.
For me, they kind of fixed some of the issues that were on the 360, but there were other issues. Like if you were in the water, there would be like a weird lighting glitch that would create like this black void on the screen and crash your system.
Yeah, I went through the whole rigmarole with that game, bro. It was insane. But I got a lot of love for Ark, for real though.
Same here. So nice to meet a fellow Ark fan. Huh. Maybe we should play some time together.
Not a crazy amount. Yeah, not a crazy amount of us come out the woods to admit it.
No, definitely not. Although I have noticed there is a big community out there for Ark though on YouTube. Mostly for like the big streamers and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, a lot of people in this community that we're in don't really talk about Ark too much.
No, not at all. And I kind of get it. I mean, Ark in a way is kind of like Skyrim in a way, in the sense where it looks really cool on the surface. Then when you get into it, it's like you thought the train was going 100 miles an hour and you find out it's going like 1,000. And what am I going to do now? How do I get off of this train? It's like one of those kind of things.
It's like, nope, you're stuck. Like, you're just going to be strapped in. Enjoy this, motherfucker.
You better buckle up because it's going to be a long ride.
Oh, okay. So if Ark is your favorite game, then so what would be your least favorite game of all time, or your most hated game that you've purchased or played?
This might break your heart a little bit, but I don't know. One of my least favorite games is Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that doesn't make my heart. If you would have said Kingdom Hearts 2, then I would have had to kick you off this show.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I was dabbling with that Square Enix, so I was thinking you wasn't gonna like that answer.
Now, honestly, I'm not too big into the Final Fantasy lore. I mean, I enjoyed 15 for what it was, but my problem with it was the mechanics. Like, just trying to level up took me forever. And yeah, I mean, it had a good story, but I wasn't too well versed in it. And the turn-based ones I cannot get into because I'm not really a turn-based type of player. So that's why I kind of enjoyed this more newer side that Final Fantasy is going into with it being non-turn based. But that's why I've always been more of a fan of Kingdom Hearts because it hasn't had that. It's more of a, I want to say, a hack and slash type of game, to be honest.
No doubt.
But go on. So, which Final Fantasy, to be exact, though, is your least favorite?
7.
7, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I need you to go into the details. So, why is 7 your least favorite?
Well, like I told you earlier, turn based isn't really my jam. So I'm talking about like the original PlayStation.
Yeah, I figured.
Turn based isn't my jam, and I wasn't really feeling the story. And I think I grew to hate it because so many people would tell me that I need to play it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. So I think I just.
So you kind of just grew into that counter culture that was all for Final Fantasy VII at the time then.
I mean, imagine living in a football city, hating football, and everyone's telling you got to go to a game. And you're just like, I'm not going to a fucking game.
You see, I could kind of relate to that actually, because I grew up in a house that's a Raider fan house, right? But I'm not really for football. So, as much as my parents wanted me to be a fan of football, I was more of a fan of soccer. So
yeah, that definitely probably brought some brought some frustration.
yeah, so I can understand how you feel. That's interesting that you couldn't even get into the story. Huh. Like,
I just wasn't into it. Like I thought, and somebody explained to me some of the stories, so it made more sense and made me a little interested. And then I seen the game again and got uninterested again. Like, I'm just not a fan of Cloud. I don't care about him at all. So like trying to play as him is just kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to do. I'm not into his jam. I don't really like how he carries himself, but from what I heard is like that's not really him. He took on somebody else's personality, I guess, or something like that. Um, but but by the time I heard about that, it was already too late. Like I was just like, I don't really need to do this, but I think at some point I will bend the knee and try to play remake. I've tried to play remake twice now, and just like I'm Cloud, and I don't like it. I just feel like a
just
complete
instantly.
yeah. Well, just because Cloud is he's kind of a dick. He's kind of a douche. And
I think everyone does a good job of portraying him as less of a dick, to be honest. But I'm not too sure because again I haven't played the original, so I'm not too versed in that. But all I'm used to is the Kingdom Hearts 2 version. Cloud.
Yeah, I bet you like that.
I mean, I don't know. Like, so you don't think you'd be able to get into the remake version and like?
No. I was saying that I'll probably keep trying to get into it, but I just, especially since the person I'm game sharing with, they bought 16. I played like an hour of 16, and then Starfield came out, and I was just like, "Fuck it."
Ooh, bad timing.
like 16 I will say the fighting looks really intriguing, and that's what got me into wanting to try that out. Um, as for 7, was it called Rebirth?
Yeah.
I am looking at that and I'm like, man, that looks kind of interesting. Um, and still not interested in for me to go run and spend $70 on it. But like I said, my buddy that I game share with is super into Final Fantasy, so he'll get that like day one probably, and I'll have the opportunity to play it. I'm just not sure if I will. Uh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna gel with it too much, but I'll give it a try. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and bash something that I won't that I won't even try and play. Like I'll try to play it, and if I don't gel with it, I don't gel with it. If I do, then Final Fantasy finally got another fan out, a new fan.
Well, at least you're willing to give it a fair shot, more than most people are. Or when it comes to like a game that when it comes to a series that they know they don't like. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm always willing to give stuff a try. Like, I mean, like I said, I don't like turn based, but I played Persona. I played 120 plus hours of that game.
Okay,
So like,
I actually got to ask this. So what got you into Persona then? Like, what about it got you into it?
I just thought it looked pretty cool. Like I thought the character was pretty dope. And then when I got into the story of it, I was intrigued by the story itself because it was like a problem solve. And the problem solve was a dude that I looked at as like a piece of shit. Right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you played Persona 5, but like, bro, that dude, that first dude that you meet, comma, I don't remember his name. But he's like the gym teacher or like the PE teacher or something like that, and he was like beating up the kids or something like that, like whatever, like the volleyball coach or whatever. And I was just like, I don't know. I got into it. I was just like, man, we need to get this dude the fuck up out of here. and so like once I got into that mode of like wanting to like cure the infection that was that coach, it just kind of got me into it. And then that problem led to a bigger problem that led to a bigger problem that led to like end game problem. And things started to add up. And I feel like the story is what drove me to be okay with the turn base. As to Final Fantasy, yeah, thank you, Kamoshida. Thank you, Devil Shooter. Yeah, that dude was a dick. But like when you make them confess to what they did, I thought that was so cool that you made them bend the knee so hard, and you did it by stealing their heart or whatever, right? Or stealing their their most prized possession that was, linked to whatever. And I just thought that was super dope. And like I said, not being into turn based, I feel like the game very brilliantly tricked me into liking it, and I ended up loving it.
I
And
love that
and
phrase you say. Really got tricked you into liking it.
oh yeah, and that's happened, in gaming several different times.
Yeah.
There's been side scrolling games. I'm not a lover of side scrolls since like the 2D era was big. So like pretty much early PlayStation days were the last time I was like big into side scrolling games. But like Switch got me back into side scrolling games because they have a lot of them on that platform.
Ooh,
A
I
game like
love side scrolls on that game on that platform.
Trine was really big. Ibn Ab was really cool. What's it called? Like I was telling you earlier, Unraveled amazing, right?
Yeah.
So that so Unraveled, I really want to give that the kudos that it deserves because that game single handedly got me back into side scrolling heavy. Like after Unraveled, I was like, yo, what other
If you,
local co-op games are side scrolling? That's how I ran into Trine
I'll
and
I'll recommend you a good few if you have the time after the show.
yeah, absolutely. No problem. If you could just write it in the send me a DM of the name of the games because I will forget.
Of course, of course. All right. I guess that has to do with that little question though. But yeah, interesting to know about your least favorite game. I mean, the only reason I asked that question is because a lot of people have an easy time picking their favorite games, but when it comes to picking like a game that they don't like, it's kind of hard for people to answer because they never really think about it. Because a lot of people do enjoy their times with the games that they buy, but it was interesting to hear you just like immediately be able to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I usually can tell you what like made a like what made the key turn. You
Yeah.
know, and for that turn-based game it specifically was the story just being so like, yo, this is foul. like this is extra nuts, and it actually, like, Persona 5 got me into wanting to play Persona 3. I started playing Persona 3, got about 2 or 3 hours into the game, and then the Xbox showcase came around and said, "Yo, Persona 3 is getting or yeah, Persona 3 Portable is getting an upgrade to the point where they're like remaking the game essentially." And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, if they're going to remake the game, I'll just wait for the Persona 5 type experience because there's a lot of point and click on P3."
Well, yeah, considering it was made for the what's it called, the Vita.
The Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The yeah. So hopefully I'm actually excited for P3. Not even gonna lie, as a non Persona type of fan, because I kind of want to get into the
Yeah.
series, but I didn't want to start with 5 because I thought that was a bit weird. I'm glad that.
It isn't. The stories are totally like just separate.
Okay, so I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I was playing Persona 5, I noticed like none of those characters are in like P4 that I know of. I mean, there might be. I don't know all the lore of all of it, but when I was playing P3, there wasn't anybody from P5 in there.
Hmm. All right. So I wonder. Okay, now I'm actually kind of curious. So like P1 even connects to P2 then, or if any of the P games like Persona games connect to each other. Because if Persona 4 doesn't even connect with 5, then okay, I might just start off wherever then, even if it's with P3 or P5.
Yeah, I was telling Devil Shooter in the chat because he's saying to play the PlayStation 2 version of P3. And I was telling him, I'm like, I might look around and see if I can find it, but I tell you, like those Shimigami Tensei games, man, those things ain't cheap half the time.
Oh boy, do I know what you mean, especially hunting down retro classics right now. Yeah, and any game that has a high demand for it, that's a kind of a hidden gem, has a high price tag to it. So,
Yeah, it's pretty tragic, but at the same time, it feels so good once you own it.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But I guess we can move on into the more YouTube side of things when it comes to the questions. What do you say?
Sure.
All right. So I always like to figure out like what drives my guests to get into YouTube. What was the motivation factor? So, what motivated you into starting your channel and to doing the content that you make?
Getting injured.
Getting injured, really?
Getting injured at work. Yep. I used to be an indoor skydiving instructor. I'd show people how to fly. So like pro skydivers and military and also people that were just coming out to look for a good time would come to this place called I Fly Indoor Skydiving, and I was the instructor in Denver, and then I moved to Kansas City where I eventually got hurt. And I didn't get hurt flying. I got hurt holding on to people and working way more than I should have been working due to COVID. So when COVID happened, we all got sent home, right? Everybody did, and pretty much the world, it seemed like. So when we all got sent home, only a few of us got called back into work at first. But then once that happened, a lot of people were like, screw it. Like, if they're not going to call me back into work, then I'm out. Like, I'll like retire or, like just leave or whatever. So people started leaving, and then we wouldn't have people to be there all day, like, or like enough people on staff. So there were days that I would be working and instructing classes all by myself. And I'd have like 5 classes. And as soon as I'm done with one class, the next class. And then after that class, another class. And then after that class, lunch. Then right after lunch, another few classes. And it was just back to back to back. So like my body just didn't handle it very well. And my lower back ended up getting or I ended up having some bone spur issues. But once it got looked into further and I got an MRI, I had a couple tears in my back and shit like that. So shit got kind of real. And I ended up just kind of jobless and at home, with the wife. And luckily I moved us out to Kansas City from Denver with my job. She ended up getting a fantastic job while being in Kansas City, which moved us eventually to Des Moines, where we're at now, Iowa. And with my back being all hurt throughout this time, I was doing podcasting and stuff like that. But I just like, my wife was like, we got a good thing kind of going here. If you were to get a job right now, and the job that you would get would be limiting, like you wouldn't be able to pick up things that you couldn't do the jobs that you previously did even before iFly. Because before iFly, I've done concrete, I've done landscaping, I've done all types of different types of jobs. I worked at an airport before, moving planes in and out of in and out of man, I'm blanking on the name.
Runways?
No, well, I'd move it from the runway into their garage. I can't believe I'm calling it garage, right?
Oh, you mean hangars?
A hangar. Thank you. Fucking sake, man. I've been just
You're good.
forgetting words as I'm getting ready to say them for like the last week, and maybe that's due to sleep or something. I don't know. I think Starfield. But anyways, so. Yeah. I've done all types of work and stuff like that, but a lot of my jobs have been labor. So like my whole resume is like labor job, pretty much. Now I can't do those kind of jobs because of my back. And I have a 5-year-old kid now that at the time wasn't in kindergarten and stuff like that. So I had to stay home with her. Or if I were to go get a job, then I'm getting this shit job that's probably only making a little more than paying for daycare every 2 weeks or weekly or however. Because like some daycares were like $250 like a week or two, and that was insane for me. So like I wasn't gonna do that, and the wife was making good enough money to where she was just like, stay home, take care of the kiddo, and we'll get your back all situated. I'm still going through right now physical therapy for my back, get that fixed up. But during the meantime, I was like, I love games. I had the generation had just started at the point where I started doing or a little over, I'd say like 8 or 9 months after the generation started, I decided to do a podcast because I already had the Series X, I already had the PS5, I already had a 3080 PC with a 3800X CPU, and I was just like, I'm pretty set right now. I'm sitting good. What am I going to do with all this stuff? Right? I mean, I'm obviously going to play video games, but like how can I maximize this? And I started watching podcasts like Dealer, Cold Eastwood. I'd see some like some PlayStation podcasts like Mystic was really dope. What's that other, like Spawn Wave? That was pretty cool. So like I was watching all these different podcasts and I was just like interacting in the chat eventually after getting comfortable coming back to these podcasts over and over, Rand, Althor, and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like I could do a podcast, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I ended up meeting my brother Loke, which you've had on this show not that long ago, on Twitter. I was in like a chat just like arguing about something, and Loke agreed with me on a point that I made with something. And I'm a very open guy, like when it comes to like talking to people, kicking it, or like, getting into party chats with people like that. I don't like to get into a party chat with like 15 other people, but I do like the one-on-ones with people, or 3 people or 4 people maybe in a party chat. Like, to me, that's comfortable, right? We're just kicking it, having a conversation, very much like a cookout conversation, right?
Yeah.
So me and Loke were agreeing with each other on Twitter, and I took it upon myself to DM Loke and say, yo, I think we should get down and play some games at some point. And he was like, all right, like I'd be down with that. And I was like, what time is it? And he's like, it's pretty late here. And I was like, what do you mean? Fucking like, it's like 3 o'clock. What do you mean it's pretty late? He's like, oh, I'm on the other side of the world from you right now, if you're in America. And I was like, yeah, I'm in America. I was like, where are you at? And he's like, I'm in Mozambique, Africa. Like Maputo, Mozambique, Africa. And I was like, yo, like my brain was so little in the sense
And
of
processing that he was just that far away, huh?
yeah, I was processing that he is that far away, but also that I was like, they got Series X's in Africa. Like I was just like, yo, that's pretty nuts. That's cool. Because I mean, and then he's like, he's like, motherfucker, we are not. He's essentially telling me that he ain't like living in the dirt. He ain't living in no mud house. He's like, we regular people over here too. Like, put some respect on Africa. So yeah, I ended up hollering at him. We played Gears of War Hive Busters together for the first time. That was our first game that we've ever played together. And the story was phenomenal. The graphics were phenomenal. Our conversation throughout the game, phenomenal. We ended up going straight from that game to God, what was that game by Hazelight Studios? Not It Takes Two, but A Way Out.
Yeah, that was our first game, right?
Yep, that was that was the first big game from them, and A Way Out was really cool because I didn't expect what was going to happen there at the end, and it just made our relationship between me and him grow even further. And during that game, I was like, yo, I feel like we talk about all this different stuff, different video games, opinions on them, what we think and everything like that. I was like, we might as well just do this on the air, and we can continue to play the video games, and we can just talk about video games while we're doing it. And then that didn't work out so well because his internet connection in Africa wasn't the best. So we kind of nixed that idea and decided, I guess we'll just do like a show where it's just me and him. And then he kind of got the idea because we're both fans of the show Undisputed, which is a Fox Sports show that talks about sports, all types of sports. It had Shannon Sharp and this dude named Skip Bayless on there. And me and Loke were like, this would be perfect. I can kind of be like the Shannon Sharp, and he can be kind of like the Skip Bayless. Like I'll be the guy that kind of bring us back to reality, and he'll be the guy that kind of push, the edge of, push the edge of reality a little bit and try to make controversy out of something in a fun way, in a respectful way, and everything like that. And we were just thinking, oh man, we need somebody to be like in between the two of us that can like dish out the questions back and forth so me and him can do our arguing, right? So I ended up asking my wife to be on the show. So if you go to the early episodes of TSWS Gaming, like the first couple shows, it's me, Loke, and my wife doing the podcast.
Yeah, that's what Loke mentioned, actually.
What's that?
That's what Loke mentioned in the last episode, actually. That it just
right.
That I think at one point that you guys even had your wives host the show or something.
Yeah. It's just my wife. His wife never did it. That she's really cool though. But yeah, my wife ended up hopping in and just kind of being that centerpiece that we needed. But long story short, that didn't work out the best. And plus we were recording it and stuff like that. And we had a 3-year-old daughter at the time that was very needy. So recording it, there was a lot of breaks in between to help the daughter out, stuff like that. So it just kind of didn't work the best. So we ended up reaching out to the community to see who else that we could find in her place. And we ended up finding Cozy Beluga. Wild, right? So it's just been so that's how bullsitting kind of started out.
All right.
But with the interview thing that really got me moving, that I feel like the interview thing is really what got the channel kind of pumping.
That's how I got introduced to your channel, actually. So
right. So I had like very early episodes with some pretty big, dope names. If I were to go to, I'm going to see what like my early episodes were in particular. Because I remember my very first episode. My very first episode ever was with my brother Matt Likes Game. He was somebody that I met through a friend named Vinny, Uso Vinny. Really good dude. So I met him during the Halo, the Halo betas, the Halo Infinite betas.
Yeah.
And we were talking a lot. We actually ended up going through the entire series of Halo. And we went through Gears of War all the way up to 5. We're on 5 right now, but there's too many other games out right now for us to finish, right?
Yeah.
That's because we still need to finish 5 and Hive Busters. But we stopped pretty much back in Hogwarts when Hogwarts came out, because ever since then games have just been coming out left and right and everywhere. But while we were going through Halo, I asked him, I was like, yo, I kind of have this idea where I want to interview people, but I'm kind of nervous to do it. So I want you, if you're okay, which he was already a content creator with his own channel, Matt Likes Games. And I was like, yo, I'd like you to be the first guest that I have on, because I know you and I can feel comfortable with you. I'm recording and we have, room to make errors and still have a good time. Right?
Yeah.
So I did the interview with him and it ended up being a really good interview. It was a lot of fun. and that interview went into other interviews as well. So then the very next episode was this dude named Lil Satan that I had on. He was nuts. He actually did most of the interview at first with a mask on his face, and I thought that was nuts. Then I had this other gentleman named Mecha Rekka, which he's part of the Great Games debate. He's a good dude. I ended up saying, I need to have more than just Xbox people on. And I had Wooly Gamer come on. Wooly Gamer's a pretty dope dude. He does a lot of console warring for PlayStation, but I wanted to be kind of like an objective channel that is willing to hear all sides, even if I don't agree. So I had him on. I had this dude named OG Harry Balzania, which that name is insane. I had this girl named Miss Cat, which she's a streamer, but she also does like some OnlyFans stuff or whatever.
Ooh, space content.
Yeah, it is something. I ended up having Wilmy Hood on, which he was dope. Matt Drex, my hot mama, and then things really start kicking. I ended up getting like Tim Dog to come on, Lord Addict, K Mega, Everborn, Plume Network, Kid Smooth, Saltiest Gaming, Get on the Sticks, Salt Mines, Dirt Griggity, Mr. Boomstick, Bonds, Miss Deus Geek. You were on Pong Soul. I've done over 150 episodes now of different content creators within gaming. Some people with a high profile name like Seamus Blackley, the creator of Xbox. I ended up having him on the show. All the way down to, people that are just trying to get, moving and get their channel seen, like Dusty that had on the Dusty Uno, or, somebody like yourself, which you told me that I somehow inspired you to do this type of content. So I'm just like, I'm actually having some sort of effect. I'm not a big, huge content creator with thousands of subscribers, but I feel like I'm garnering a lot of respect from the people within gaming, which was kind of my plan at the whole time. I wanted to be able to get that respect, so then when I go out to like events and stuff like that, like I got homies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just me going and just trying to experience it alone and figure it out. It's me meeting up with like-minded individuals and sharing the same passion, having fun, maybe not agreeing with everything, but we're still, we may not be going for the same football, basketball, or whatever team, but we're both sitting in the stands at the game. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the same thing at the end of the day.
It's like we're both fans of gaming, so we're both going to cheer on gaming. We're going to talk about games. We're going to talk about whatever happens, So yeah, I definitely get you.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what brought me to where I am now. I know that was long-winded, but
no, that was perfect. You actually got 2 questions answered in one sitting practically. Because my next question was going to be about like how you started your shows, but you just went off there. So perfect.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild and long-winded story, but I really enjoy telling.
And that's what I enjoy about this show, that I can get like those kind of stories out there, like these personal stories of these people like how they got started, And that's what I wanted. I want to get all the details out there. Also,
wow.
Also, I see Double Shooter posting the link there in the chat for you. So yeah, feel welcome to come back to when the show real uploads. But yeah, moving on. Yeah, but I really did enjoy that. I could tell the passion in you. Like, you enjoy doing what you're doing. You enjoyed like getting these people on your show. You enjoy like just the interactions alone that you managed to have because of this.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because to me, nothing to me is more needed in this gaming community than base understand. And I feel like a lot of people lack just base fundamental understanding. We're all here to do the same thing. And really it goes beyond gaming. It's a world issue, right? We're
Yeah,
all here to live. We're all here to smile and try to do the best that we can. But some but for some reason people get overly competitive to the point where they're making enemies with people that are trying to do the exact same thing, and it makes no sense. I understand competition is one thing, and disliking your competition, sure, that's fine too.
yeah. Football
But
fans can dislike each other's teams.
disrespecting your competition is not needed or tolerated.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to this community, especially with the fanboys, there's like hardly really any respect between each other. I mean, us, the content creators, we can respect each other no problem. But when it comes to a lot of individual people out there, they just don't know how to give respect back to others. They just
We'll see. One of the big things is people pretend to be disrespectful too,
yeah,
which which is more tragic than actual disrespect, because at least in actual disrespect you're trying to neutralize something. You're trying to neutralize a feeling that somebody is garnering, right?
yeah,
And within time or action, you could like heal that wound possibly. But when it's fake, there's nothing to heal. You know what I'm saying? They know exactly what they're doing, and it's become a game now.
yeah. Just like a
So
popularity
so
contest.
so so whatchamacallit, K Mega literally just posted something um on Twitter that Vicious or Paris Lily posted earlier. He retweeted it, and the retweet says, was at a preview event this week and had a creator admit they purposely encourage the negativity of the console wars because it drives engagement, and the person said it pays the bills. That's tragic. That kind of stuff to me is just like it I could see how it drives hopelessness into the community to where nobody ever feels like they're going to be comfortable, happy, or safe, because there are people out here that don't even want to do it, but feel the need that they have to because they benefit out of it. They benefit out of it, so everybody else must suffer. And that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the fakes out there, yeah, they're gonna try to benefit off this any way they can, and it just drives an even further divide in between people's like opinions.
Well, we all know that we all know that that what was that famous saying? Not controversy, but something likes company. Like controversy likes company, or something like that, or dang, I really can't remember that saying right there. It's the name of one of my favorite rappers' album, which is, and like I said, dude, I've been forgetting shit left and right, and it's been driving me insane lately. But misery loves company. That's what it's called. Misery loves company. And that's exactly what it is, because as soon as you see some negative stuff, some horrible stuff, or somebody getting slandered, that's where all the likes are. That's where all the
Yep.
retweets
Yep.
are. That's where all the
it's all
comments are.
negativity. That's
But as soon as somebody says, you know what? I don't care about any of that stuff because I'm with everybody that's happy to be a gamer and happy to play games, whether you like this game or not. If you like this, you're rocking with us. Freaking a tumbleweed goes by.
yep.
Nobody cares about that because it's just, I mean, it's taking a stand of positivity and like there's no moving it. There's no there's no manipulating it into something bad. People want something to be manipulated a little bit so then they could have their own fun with it, have their own goofy shit to look at, and we're all guilty of it. Hell, I'm guilty of it sometimes. Sometimes I see some crazy shit and I'm just like, let me click a couple more times. Let me see what's going on here, right? Like we're all guilty of it. But the things that makes me frustrated is the ones that champion being so negative don't give that same energy back. So although I'm interested in what they're saying and it's negative and whatnot, they're not interested in the positive shit that I'm saying. So it's not being that. So that same energy isn't being returned. So I'm giving them attention, but they're not giving me attention. And it's and that's where the kind of scale tips really hard for them.
Yeah. Let me transition from this question because I think what we're on is actually a pretty good segue because I like to ask my guests this topic because I kind of think it's an interesting point of view of where they think gaming is, if it's in a good place, if it's in a bad place, you know, with everything that goes on in it, like the negativity or the positivity. How do you feel like of where we are? Do you think gaming is in a good place or if it's in a bad place currently?
Um, I feel like gaming's in purgatory right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really know which way it wants to have its strings pulled quite yet. And it's not really because of the fans. As much as everybody wants to blame the fans, in my opinion, it has nothing to do with the fans. It's all about what these businesses are doing. These businesses know people console war. These businesses know the divide that they create sometimes between people. And they don't do anything about it because all they care about is the bottom line at the end of the day, which is the cash. So as long as it's working in their favor, they will use it. Right? It's just another attribute for them, not something that's like hurting them at all. They're just going to position themselves properly to be the one up against this, whether they truly are or not. So I've but if you're telling me to pick good or bad, I would say good still. Because we've yet to see the government come in and ruin everything yet.
I can agree with that point of view.
Once the government can start telling people what's okay and not okay in all these different aspects, then I'm just like, all right, now this is fucked up. Now this is really messed up because you guys done made all the and see, this is why I was talking earlier about the whole like what was it called, the Volition game, god damn,
Saints Row 2 or not
Saints Row. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Saints Row so much is because it's just like you try to put these checkbox things in games, people are going to turn away and not like that because then you're reminding them of either like some sort of reality or you're just not being creative. You're basing some stuff off of what's really going on a little bit, and that can kind of jar a little people if it's overly done. it didn't really jar me. The thing that jarred me was the goofiness in the game, the overly goofiness. Because I like the Saints Row back in the day where they were just more serious. This is gang life. This is real shit. Like, but now it's just kind of like you're working at a coffee shop and I'm gonna go kill some people now, and it's just a little bit weird to me. That's creepy.
Not even gonna lie, the way you phrase it, yeah, okay, yeah, I can agree. It sounds weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds demented. So like I'm not, I wasn't really into that much, but but I mean, you're starting to see even with Starfield, the whole him, her, or he, him, and
Oh, yeah.
whatever, her,
Yeah,
she, or
the
whatever
politics
thing.
behind that. Like, God,
Exactly,
I was
man.
not for it.
Like I don't think that it shouldn't not. Like I don't think that it shouldn't be in the game, but I can see where people are getting a little frustrated a little bit because it's like now it feels like some of the government's in the game a little bit. So that's where people are coming from. I'm not saying that they're right for being loud and ridiculous about it. I think that shit's stupid. Like, yo, if you don't like it, then don't play it. Say your piece real quick. You don't got to scream at everybody like that crazy dude was on Twitter. Just say, hey, this is why I can't rock with this game. It's because I don't like the direction that gaming is going. And this is a piece of the problem to me. Like it or disagree, it just is what it is. Didn't need to scream at everybody for that. It's woke trash. Like nobody needs to hear that.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
100%. 100%.
Because as soon as he did that, I was like, you look just like the people that you're hating on. You look just like them right now. You're not making any sense. You hate them for being loud, obnoxious, crazy, wild, but you're screaming at a webcam right now. So it doesn't make any sense.
What that person's doing. To lift this back, actually, to what you're talking about, like how people like to fake stuff in this community. That person even came out and said that he was trying to fake it for views too.
Tragic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people make it hard to be original and just to be regular. And people make it seem bad to be regular. Like regular is just like shouldn't be a thing. Acting normal is the new craze. And it's something I wholeheartedly disagree with. Exactly. I 100% agree with Devil Shoe. He says both extremes are the same. Both extremes, in my opinion, are insane because
I couldn't agree more.
Because they use tactics that fear people into walking with them. Yep. And for me, you'll never get me to be on that boat. Because if you're telling me, hey, you got to do this or you get nothing, I'm gonna tell you I'd rather have nothing. I might not like it. I might look across the field and see y'all enjoying it and be like, man. But like, I'm stubborn like that. I am. I'm very stubborn. And if somebody tells me that I had to walk the line their way to be, I mean, they're trying to rewrite what a regular person is, and I don't like that. I think all we need is basic, fundamental understanding, whether it's in the gaming community, politics, or whatever. At the end of the day, we want to go home, open up the fridge, eat something, relax, maybe sit on the couch, maybe go get a beer, maybe read a book, maybe play a game, but none of us are trying to be in the middle of some BS. And it feels like that's what people want to do. They want you to jump in with their BS and hold a sign saying that you promote whatever BS that they got going on. And then you come to find out later that they didn't really care about the topic. They just wanted the cash.
1000% right there. Yeah. I mean, if they're gonna just fake it, why even bother? Yeah. Like I prefer someone who's just genuine, just trying to be them, just being themselves, just who's not trying to be fake.
Yeah, because you know the whole freak out is going to garner millions of views.
Yeah.
But the honest truth is only going to hit a couple thousand. It's tragic.
Yep.
It is tragic. And again, and it can be from the exact same person. As you just said, that person came out and said, I did some of that for just the views. Guess what? I only heard the crazy part. I didn't hear that part. Because that's the only part that gets shown is the crazy.
Yep. And that's the only part that matters when it comes to the internet, too. Because that's what drives views, that's what drives clicks, everything negative. And it's sad. It's sad to see. I guess we're down to my final question here. So I think we should start wrapping this up then. So I always like to ask this to people. So being a content creator yourself, if you came across someone new who wanted to start a channel, like say if someone was inspired by you, by your show, by your content, what would you say for them to do? Like, what advice would you give somebody if they wanted to do a new show or if they wanted to make content and be a part of this community?
I mean, I already know the answer to this question. I'm just trying to figure out how to word it. I think I would say something that King David told me when I was first starting my channel. And it's don't be afraid. And what I mean by that is more or less like not only don't be afraid to be yourself, but don't let anybody else make you feel afraid or make you feel like you're smaller than they are. And to add a little bit more context to that, I had no shame reaching out to somebody like Seamus Blackley that made the brand new. I mean, not the brand new. That made the original Xbox. I had zero shame walking up, or not walking up, but like sending him a DM saying, "Hey," and saying some sweet nothings because that's what you got to do sometimes. And I mean, I was honest with what I said because I was just like, "Yo, like this would be a dream interview because the original Xbox is my favorite console of all time." But like, I mean, I still had to word it appropriately to make him, interested, right?
Yeah.
Same with John Linneman with Digital Foundry. Same with RGT, Gaz, Jerry Hook, the lead designer for Halo Infinite back before it launched. Like I had to just like put my worries to the side and just do a minor study about what this person likes, what this person is or does, and convey that back to them in a way that I want them to come be part of my show. Yo, I like what you did. I really cherish this about you. You're a real individual when it comes to this. And I would like to display that on my channel for you. Some people are very straightforward. Hey, I just want you on my show. And they're like, cool. Other people gotta be a little, I mean, some of the ladies that I've talked to a little bit. I I'd send them, hey, I'd really be interested in hearing your opinions about gaming and whatnot, because I do this show called Behind Them Sticks where I talk to different gamers around the world. And I've done 100+ episodes. Here's a few episodes, and I give them, a couple episodes of people similar to them, or a few female gamers, or or I see that they follow this person. So I'd show them that I interviewed that person and they were cool with it. Just finding a way is really, at the end of the day, the thing. Because I don't know if this is going to be your thing, interviewing people. I mean, I like what you're doing right now. This interview today has been phenomenal. But who's to say that you're going to continue down this route? I'm not going to say that. You can say that, but I'm not going to say that. I hope the best if you do. But
I definitely hope I could continue with this.
but if you do decide to continue with it, please be willing to put yourself out there, to make some mistakes, to get rejected, to feel dejected. Be ready for all that shit. And that's why I was asking you a few weeks back, when you answered one of my tweets, and I put something about like, I was asking like, what would be like a dream come true out of this, or like, what are you looking to get out of content creating? I think that might honing in something specific that you want. In my opinion, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. But in my opinion, honing in a direction, it doesn't even have to come to fruition, but if you at least have the specific, I want to be able to do this. Like I told you earlier, I want to be able to go to events and people know who I am before I even walk in.
Just have that dream with you practically. Just like know what you want to do, have that goal, and try to accomplish that goal.
And chase it. Yeah. Just create something. It doesn't even have to like come to fruition, but give yourself that fishing rod with the sandwich on it, and then put it on your back and then run after it. Like a dog chasing his tail. Like just do that, and that will give you the aspiration and the direction that you need to start knocking down some of these goals, and then you'll start to see, this, I mean, not every week is going to be big, right?
No, yeah,
but then you'll start to see that you're like you're starting to punch above instead of just straightforward.
That's the goal. That's the hope and the dream right there. Try to punch above your weight, get the views, grow.
But yeah, man. I mean, really, I think the respect is what comes first, and then the views come later. Because once people start to see, oh, you're on this channel, oh, you're on this channel, oh, you had that to say, oh, I'm interested in that. Then the people come. But the thing is, people come and people go.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like YouTube and stuff like that. So as long as you make the meaningful relationships within the,
you just gotta work hard to it.
Yeah. As long as you like, if I ran into Seamus or John or Randall Thor, it wouldn't be the first time some weird, awkward, handshake or whatnot. It'd be like, yo, I remember what you were talking about the other week, bro. Good show. Or, something like that. Or, oh man, I got to get you back on here again. I had you on real early in my YouTube, but I mean, I'd love to have you back on at some point. Just you already got something to talk about or something to think about, instead of trying to, rub elbows with people that you never heard of, or maybe you heard of them, but they've never heard of you.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely met people that I've never heard of that have made it big on YouTube, like view wise and subscriber wise. So yeah, I mean, it's been an honor meeting a lot of people. So I can say that. So you're not wrong, 1000%. And it's a grind. It's a grind working up there. It definitely is.
Shout out to Devil Shooter, because he said he subbed to the channel, so I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Devil Shooter is a big ol' helper of trying to support other people that he enjoys on my shows. So big shout out to him. And yeah, with that, I guess let's get your outro out of the way. It's been fun having you on, and it's also really great to hear your passion for video games. It's definitely fun to hear your story. Let people know where they can find you at, man. And I'll make sure to link all your channels or all your social media onto my description after the show.
All right, so this is a lot of stuff, so you guys buckle up real quick. So on my channel, TSWS Gaming, that's where I do shows every other Monday. Me and K Mega swap channels back and forth every other Monday on the show called The Crossover. Now you see why we call it The Crossover, because we cross back and forth between each other's channels. But every Tuesday on my channel, I have a show called The Lowdown with me and Loke. We talk about all types of wild stuff. Loke usually has some pretty crazy gaming news. And then on Wednesday, I'm on a different channel called Matt Likes Games. And like I said, that's the dude I had the very first interview with on Behind Them Sticks. It was Matt Likes Games. I did him a solid and decided, yo, I'll do a show with you on your channel. So on Wednesdays, that's where I am. But mainly, you'll find me on TSWS Gaming, where I have that Monday show every other week. Every Tuesday, The Lowdown. Every Thursday, I got Behind Them Sticks with a new guest. And then on Fridays, which we had Callie Rex on not that long, just last week, we got Bull sitting with me. And then that's our panel show. So it's me, Loke, Cozy Beluga, and Matt Likes Games every week with usually one guest added. But that's the gist of it, man. That is where you can find me when it comes to YouTube. As for Twitter, at HamSolo05 Game. Callie Rex, thank you so much for reaching out to your boy and having me on this show. And, saying your sweet nothings to me and whatnot. I appreciate it.
Of course. And like I said, it's been an honor having you on. Time, bro. Yeah.
It's really been a good time. You got to let me get, some stuff off of my chest. You had me explain some things to a point where I'm starting to second guess myself a little bit, like with this Final Fantasy thing. You got me thinking I need to give it another try, which I probably will. Because like I said, I don't like it. But there's been plenty of times where I don't like something and I'll end up liking it later. It happens with food. Everybody says, every 7 years you got brand new cells in your body, right?
Yeah.
You got a different taste than you had 7 years ago. So who knows? I might hop in and find it a blast. Something I couldn't enjoy 5-10 years ago, I might love today. It's just called growth, and it is what it is.
Also, you're a good Sir X-Man. You can always catch the re-upload once the stream ends. But I always appreciate people coming by and just dropping us some support. So thank you for coming by. And again, HamSolo, like I said before the show, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate you. And honestly, this is a big moment because you are one of the inspirations for me doing a one-on-one type of show. Like you said, you did this. You had me on before, and I thought it would be a real big honor to try to have you on to this show. So I really do appreciate you coming on. I appreciate that.
God bless you, brother. I appreciate it.
But with that, I will be having the Wise Old Gamer onto this show next week, hopefully. And that's what I'm trying to get him for the next Saturday. And after that, I'm going to be trying getting K-Mega, sadly, which I couldn't get him on last weekend. So
yeah, he is out of town. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was like,
I kind of fucked that up. I was hoping that he would be able to make it during the weekend, but I guess he wasn't feeling after he got back home. But
no, yeah, he got sick as soon as he got back in town.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to get him on after I get Wise on my show. But yeah,
he was sick last night too, but it wasn't from a virus. That man was drunk. That man was drunk last night, man.
Sounds like K-Mega. But yeah, thank you guys again for coming on to the show, and thank you guys for supporting me in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Tune in for the next episode, and peace.